Oh, this harmony is beautiful. Hey music friends, this is Davi Vasc, I'm a music composer for games, and today we have another very fun request from Patreon, and it's the track called Sega CD from the game Android Assault. And from what I understand, this is an old school Sega game, which is very cool because I love old school video game music from the 90s. That's when I grew up actually, in the 90s. So yeah, that being said, I don't know anything about this game, so let's go. Oh my god. Oh. Beautiful sax and... Oh man, this is so stylish. Oh my god, this was so slick, so stylish, and it sounds so much like 90s Sega, right? I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Sega in the 90s had a lot more of these 80s kind of funky sometimes and jazzy soundtracks like this, as stuff like Nintendo, for example, was usually orchestral, sometimes a bit cartoony. Sega had a lot more of these, and I don't know what I was expecting, but I heard this and was very surprised by the quality of the music. I thought to myself, wait, this is high quality audio, but then I remembered, yeah, it's Sega CD, it's CD quality music, when back in this time in the 90s, we were very used to those very compressed retro samples, you know, from the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo, right? Those very retro sounding, video gamey sounding samples. This is CD quality music that's very impressive, especially for the time. Oh, and the sax again. And the interesting thing about this is the harmony is just holding one chord. Oh, it changed now. Oh, this harmony is beautiful. Check this out. The harmony here in this last part is very interesting. It sounds very magical and romantical, like everything from the 80s, right? Sounds very magical. And this, of course, is not from the 80s, it's from the 90s. But there's, of course, a lot of influences from the 80s here. And how do you make a sequence of chords sound magical? You have to go out of the realm of possibility, out of the realm of what people think is the norm. So in music, people usually, composers usually use things like borrowed chords or modulations, which are complicated terms and they are different things, but explaining it simply, it basically means that you're using chords that do not belong in the key that you're playing in. So they are unexpected chords that don't belong, and they feel magical. They feel like something new and exciting is happening. So I'm gonna show you. Check this out. So yeah, like I said, sounds very magical and exciting, but at the same time, there's a hint of melancholy there. There's some sad chords that don't belong here, but were included anyway, and it gives that kind of melancholic sensation. And if you notice, one of the voices is doing kind of a depressing downward movement like this. And it keeps going down. So it's this movement here. Sounds kind of depressing, right? Sounds like something going wrong. Maybe that means something in the context of the game, and it's fun to see that there's such a depressing line hidden in such an exciting and magical part like this. wow. All the instruments playing the same melody. Oh wow. And the sax. Oh. Oh my god. Sounds very, very bluesy, jazzy. And check this out. So I said this sounds bluesy, kind of jazzy, right? And it's funny. Sometimes in music, when you want to sound a certain way in a certain style, it can be very difficult. That there can be like a ton of different, very difficult things that you have to do to sound a certain way. When it comes to blues, of course, there's a million different, very difficult things that you can do to sound jazzy, but there's one very easy thing that you can do that almost everyone that plays blues and jazz does, which is use the blue note. There's literally a note called the blue note that if you use it, it makes you sound like blues, and it's that easy. So I'm gonna show you. So this phrase here, this note here, this is the blue note, and this note doesn't belong in this scale, so you wouldn't use it normally, but when you add it in, it makes everything sound more smooth and slick and bluesy and jazzy. It's really fun. Oh yeah, going crazy on that blue note. And he's again holding on single chord. Oh, now he changed it. Oh, I see. Now he's repeating that magical, exciting part, but with the sax on top. That's so beautiful. This track was suggested on Patreon by Lunar. Hooray, Lunar! And hey, if you like sharing the music from the games that you love, like we like to do here on the channel, get on Patreon, do like Lunar, and share a track that is special to you with me so that I can share it with the world. Wouldn't that be nice? And remember, whenever you're ready to spread your wings and go on a music journey again, I will see you there.